Hey guys, and welcome to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. Tonight, we'll be discussing a couple of the recent passings. 2016 just continues to go off and kick us in the gonads. And we later on the show we'll be discussing some theories and some speculation about the upcoming Justice League movie, which is coming out next year. So you know what? Sit tight, listen to some music, and we'll be right back at you.
Welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. Of course, I am Captain Fizz.
And greetings once again from the seventh moon of thunder. I am that Mask Guy.
And tonight we have pretty much a star panel conversation bringing to you tonight. And we're going to start off with Ben Affleck's social media. Yeah, there's no proper word to describe what he's done. He has basically broken the internet. In one tweet or one post, he has broken everything. And in that little post, it is a video of none other but Deathstroke.
This has got to be one of the most impressive things.
And even if this turns out to be a hoax or a joke or where he sends us in a different direction, it is the most thought out, the most phenomenal joke in the world. Like, this thing looks absolutely 100% real. You see the background, outside the monitors where, it looks like it's an actual studio and all that. So even if this is a prank, it's a very well thought out prank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is really Deathstroke, oh my god. The suit is great. Slade Wilson has, quickly over the years become one of my more favorite DC villains, especially after watching the Teen Titans cartoon series that came out several years ago.
Which is what really made him more famous with, the DC fanatics.
As well as, of course, a couple seasons that the character development in Arrow.
And, going back with that, like, I never personally saw any of the episodes myself, but I definitely did read into a lot of it, especially, with this news today of Deathstroke possibly being in this movie, whether it's going to be in Ben Affleck's standalone movie or in Justice League. One of the reasons why they stopped putting him in the Arrow TV show was for this reason, is they wanted him to be this kind of new concept moving into the movies. So they didn't want to have this character that they're basing on that is already in, the DC universe, TV, movie, or whatever you want to call it. So they wanted a fresh blood, and I think that it's a perfect decision, for such an iconic villain, as Deathstroke.
I agree. I'm sort of hoping, though, that we're going to see him being saved for the Batman standalone movie. It's not that, again, I love the character, and, there's no doubt about it. I'd have it. Deadpool was originally modeled off of Deathstroke. They completely admitted that, they stole it. In fact, the guy who created Deadpool and the guy who created Deathstroke actually were roommates at one point. So it's quite possible that, they kind of bounced ideas off.
That's kind of obvious, when you look at the costume, you look at the name, Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson, very similarity on both of them. Well, what I would really like to see, I kind of want to see, Deathstroke being in the Justice League, and maybe a little cameo of Killshot, and them comparing face masks.
Well, it's interesting because you went off and you kind of came up with a cast list here, and I went off and I went on the Internet Movie Database, IMDb.com, and they had a very limited, cast list on there. So it was
I think my cast list is actually larger than theirs.
It is. There's no doubt about it. They had very few names. They had like a couple supporting, prison guard number one, so on. But they didn't actually have a lot of the big name listed.
Yeah. So for the first time ever, I have more information than the comic book website.
Well,
that is phenomenal.
No, this isn't comic book. This is Internet Movie Database.
That still works. I know no more than them.
Well, we'll get that at you. 1 point to Captain Fizz.
Hey, I win this war, this battle.
Yeah. I mean, so I was just looking, and the one thing that I found interesting is that there was a rumor that we might see, Joker in this. Again, if Joker's in this, I'm hoping that it's more of a cameo, nothing else. Joker's one of those characters that I don't necessarily see, would be a really good fit, but my big thing is looking through your list and looking through my list, I'm still missing the big baddie that I would be expecting for a movie where you have a bunch of people coming together. Like Slade Wilson. Slade Wilson's going to be kick-ass, but, is he going to be so great that he's going to need a whole Justice League to go off and beat him? I don't think so.
No, and I definitely agree with you. I don't feel that he is going to be the main baddie, nor is... Lex Luthor,
which is again,
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg, who I thought was good.
I thought was retarded.
And I said good. I didn't say great, but I mean, okay.
But anytime that Lex Luthor
he's
is
no
involved,
Gene Hackman. I mean, let's face that.
Anytime that Lex Luthor is involved, though, there's going to be a bigger baddie than Deathstroke, which we look forward to. And what I like really a lot about DC as of lately is how secretive they are.
The one thing, what is really nice about DC is they're not afraid to go to darker places. They're not. I mean, they might lose, they may not get as many fans and as many people to come out because of the content that they go with. Because, I mean, if you oppose to, the Marvel movies tend to be much lighter, have much lighter themes.
But they're also, very front and center. This is who's playing this person. This is, our baddie. This is this. Yeah. This is that. This is what I love DC. Like, I've always been a Marvel fan, but DC has really won me over the last year or so. And it's the secretive part. We have a name of a potential actor playing Deathstroke. Now, none of this is confirmed. They're really playing this close to bell.
Oh, they absolutely are.
And basically, it's a Welsh actor, Julian Lewis-Jones. Now, about a month and a half ago, this guy came out on social media and confirmed that he was taking part in Justice League. He would not tell anybody what it was, other than to say that this movie was going to be one of the most expensive movies out there. And, so obviously for a guy, if he's not revealing who he is, and you go through the list of all the characters there, at that point, you knew for a fact who everybody was, except for who he was playing.
I mean, it's possible that he might have some small part. He might be,
not according to how he has spoken.
Okay.
He has spoken very clearly that he is in a very prominent role, very front and center. So, it's the only thing logical with his age, with his build, and all that stuff is, Slade Wilson. This guy is 48. He's built pretty good. But if you go back in the comic books and you look at, Deathstroke, he didn't come into being a superhero, supervillain, so to speak, until later in his life, middle age.
He was a mercenary for the longest time. So, I mean, this is something that he's, kind of fell into as he grew older. In the comics, we discover that... I don't know if it's part of the New 52, but Slade had, several children who he intentionally alienated and would eventually become members of Teen Titans,
yes.
or one of the different Teen Titan teams.
Yeah. He had two children that definitely do become part of superhero. So they're opening a lot of doors, not just now of his character, but in the future bringing in other characters. And they've been talking a lot about a Teen Titan movie. rebranding it all.
Slade
So
Wilson was a huge villain for the Teen Titans, so that would
he's also been a huge villain for Arrow as well as Batman. So
Yes.
there's a lot of doors that could open,
Absolutely.
including the one that I have to ask, and I think we're all pretty much asking the same. How much chance do we see Arrow making a cameo in Justice League?
I don't know. I mean, I think they might be wise not to bring in as many people and as many characters as possible. I know that they had hopes for the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, but unfortunately that kind of bombed. Then that was their own fault.
They shot themselves.
But-
But see, the thing though, I look at this is DC is behind times. You look where Marvel is right now. Thor Ragnarok. They're already multiple movies down that line. Same with Iron Man. The Avengers. All that. They are so far ahead that DC really needs to throw everything they got and push things forward.
We went off and we saw, thanks to Zack Snyder and Batman v Superman, where they really kind of stunk that up by trying to shove in too much. Less is more.
I think in that point, it wasn't so much that more was put into it. I agree that some aspects of it were unneeded. For example, showcasing Cyborg, the Flash, and even Aquaman, I think was unnecessary. But the biggest issue I had with that movie was the script and the storyline. As much as Lex Luthor is a very important part of Superman and all that, he was an unnecessary aspect of that movie.
And yet he wasn't. It was very. The theme that they're trying to go on here was that, for the longest time, several years ago, you guys could go off and look for. There's a documentary about the fight to come up with a new superhero movie, and at one point it was.
These guys don't like documentaries. They listen to us. We document it for them.
But anyways, there was a documentary that talked about the fight to go off and to bring out another Superman movie following the travesty that was known as Superman 4. And one of the ideas, of course, was to bring out the popular storyline, Batman, the life and death of Superman, which was going to go off.
Death and Return of Superman.
Well, I stand corrected. And, of course, that was going to be started with Nicolas Cage. And the guy who was actually directing it, he, has pretty much said that, he will go to his grave, saying that, Nicolas Cage was perfect for that role. And we may never know. Maybe Nicolas Cage would have been great. I remember when I first heard that he was going to be part of it, I kind of groaned. But maybe it would have turned out to be a great Superman. We'll never know, unfortunately.
No, and I fully agree. But I am definitely looking forward to Justice League. And I think they have so much potential, especially with the huge lineup. But we're 13 minutes in already.
We are.
I believe before we continue, especially saying the lineup of the actors, the actresses that are going to be in such pretty much the iconic point in DC's history on whether or not they are going to move backwards or they're going to move forward. This is their defining moment. Justice League.
This is going to be their make or break. When you went off and brought up the fact that this is going to be one of the most expensive movies of all time, that very phrase absolutely scares the crap out of me.
It does, and
because Batman versus Superman did not do as well as they had hoped. It sounds like Suicide Squad, which did good, still didn't match up with nothing that they've done. Seems to be matching up with where they wanted to be.
And I don't think that's necessary because of stuff they have done wrong. I think Justice League was Suicide Squad was handled perfectly. They hinted so much on how much of an iconic role that Joker played, and then they dialed it down to more cameo appearances and what created Harley Quinn. I think that was clever.
It was clever. And unfortunately, we don't have time to go off and to bring this up. But Jared Leto has went off and has talked about how slighted he feels about what ended up making it into the movie, because he apparently went off and did a lot of stuff, that never made it into the movie. And he's actually stated they could probably do almost an entire movie just based off of the stuff that he and Harley Quinn
And see-
went off and did.
I understand his feelings. I do, especially when you spend so much time and energy into, do these scenes. But what he